A lot of people have been discussing revenue sharing and the House settlement and all those different things. I don't think the chaos with NIL is going anywhere anytime soon. I think it's here to stay. Now, I'm not a legal expert, so maybe I'm going out of my field here, just as a forewarning to all of you who are watching the video who are starting it. However, I have a few reasons off the top of my head, things that I've pondered over the past few days, weeks, really ever since the Nico Iamaleava situation with Tennessee, different things that I look at and I think there's no way this is being fixed anytime soon. That's the NIL crisis. That is the continuous jacking up of prices for these players, the constant inflation of a college football player's value. I mean, USC, this has been reported, whether it's by Juck Bucks, and before he made a video about that, I had a friend of mine who's pretty well connected, texted me informing me of the same deal between USC and Mark Bowman, that he's getting, like $7 million or something over 3 years as a tight end. Tight end. That's crazy. Trending towards Texas and Georgia, then USC dropped that money. If they have that kind of money in NIL mobilized, that also explains why they've done a better job of holding on to an even larger and better class than the one they had last year, which completely fell apart. It helps when your off-field, on-field staff, yourself as the head coach, your AD, and the boosters are all aligned and all in lockstep. That really helps, and I think USC entering this year in juxtaposition to USC entering 2024 is a great example of that. But anyway, I do not think this is going away anytime soon. And before I tell you why, I just ask you to like the video, hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when I release daily college football content, and also subscribe to the channel. And let me know if you think that I'm out of line or wrong on any of these reasons that I am spouting off the top of my head. I think the biggest one is, how are you going to be able to limit a player's NIL? How are you going to limit their compensation for their name, consequently their brand and image and likeness, all those things? They mean a lot of similar things, and in a variety of ways. They're all synonyms of each other, really. Name, image, likeness. It's basically who you are. How can you limit an athlete making a certain amount of money for just being who they are without moving to an NFL type system where they're able to just pay the best players so much money? And not just that, but with how the NFL works, there's a draft. You get drafted to a team, you have to play for that team. You get traded. You can be a free agent and go from team to team, but you got to play through your contract typically. Now, I'm not an NFL expert. I'm far from it. I know almost nothing about the NFL. So for any of those things, if I got them wrong, apologies. But the point is, the NFL, I know this about them, they have order. The NFL has order. They have rules. You can't just go from one team to another whenever you feel like it because a local business in Team A pays you a huge deal that businesses around Team B won't. And businesses can be legitimate businesses, or they can be businesses and they're fronts for a billionaire who likes a certain school. College football needs order. And that type of strict order that will be able to truly limit NIL Collective's ability to pay for players, to tamper with them, to poach them, to buy them, that will take time. That will take a lot of time. The Texases and Oregons of the world, and I'm going to make a video about this, I don't see a world where they don't have tremendous success over the next half decade to decade. Truly. Because they have the biggest budgets, and they're in the SEC and Big Ten respectively. And they have head coaches that everyone at least agrees are good. Some think they're elite. They have wonderful staffs, hardworking staffs. They're at programs that are either a blue blood in Texas or in the 21st century in Oregon have had some of the most success out of all college football teams. I don't think those teams, say, going into traditional SEC territory or traditional Big Ten territory, the old SEC and Big Ten teams in their territories, and poaching players that would usually go to Georgia, Alabama, Miami, although Miami hasn't really been up recently, and they're definitely a team that has generous NIL deals. But even Clemson or Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State and Oregon and Texas, and to a lesser degree Miami, and maybe Texas Tech if they have a big year this year and continue to get backing from their oil money billionaires, millionaires, they can go in and they can get some of these players that previously they would have had a harder time getting, or they'll get more of them than they usually did. I think that you are going to see these prices just continue to increase, and at some point you'll see insanity. You will see teams, or maybe just a team, spending 9 figures on their roster. And I imagine Texas or Oregon would be the first team to do that. I could totally see that in the future. With inflation, with the fact that a lot of these billionaires obviously invest their money, and the stock market's only continued to climb, they're successful, their businesses earn a lot, and Phil Knight, for example, is old, and one of the things he wants to see before he dies is Oregon win it all. These Texas oil billionaires, there's several of them it sounds like, they're going to keep making money from oil because oil runs much of the world. And with all that being said, they can funnel money to players. Why? Because there's no legal way to restrict a player from earning whatever his market value is believed to be. There's no restriction on that. You can't legally restrict that. Otherwise, the current discussions around NIL wouldn't even exist. But the NCAA can't do anything about it. It's even been ruled in the courts that tampering is legal. You can tamper with a player. You can. The only restriction that prevents players from immediately going from school A to B randomly in the middle of the year even is the current transfer portal enforcements that probably, guess what? Those probably could get challenged and defeated, given how all of this has gone so horribly wrong for the NCAA. So these are just my thoughts, and really that's it, my thoughts. This is not me reading an article. This is not me, a lawyer or legal expert, of which I am not giving you detailed inside information. I'm just making a prediction that this type of chaos is going to reign for a half decade, maybe even longer than that, half decade to a decade. I think it will take several years for there to be in fine print ironclad or close to ironclad restrictions that bring back some order to college football. NIL in truth was Pandora's box. It's why a lot of people didn't want players to get paid. Now, I think they deserve to get paid, and that's a good thing. But since you opened it up and let it be so that there were no rules to payment, it's going to be really hard to kind of reel that line back in. It's going to be very hard to get that fish back in the net. So the revenue sharing and the House settlement, which there hasn't even been an agreement on that. Ross Dellinger reported a day or two ago that athletes are about to get paid out, athletes spanning approximately the past decade, are about to be paid out $1 billion in total, and there are no rules for this revenue sharing. So my questions that I have is how is this revenue sharing going to be enforced? How's the cap going to be enforced? And even if that's the case, and even if the cap is enforced, how are you going to stop certain NIL collectives from just adding the cap to their treasure chest, to their war chest? How are you going to stop that? Because that part, I think, is the dirtier secret and is the more important conversation. Texas's donors are going to have a lot more money at their disposal than Texas, the athletic department, will in terms of being able to spend on college football players alone. Texas has to spread that money out. They operate on a budget, the university does, and the athletic department gets a part of that. These donors can just donate to specific athletes to come to Texas if they want, and they can do it behind the scenes, meaning there won't be limitations or the university won't really look bad if they do it. Well, if the university paid an athlete $10 million, that might put a little bit of a stain on them, Maybe I'm wrong there. But I just don't think this is going to be fixed anytime soon. And isn't cheating, I say cheating in quotes because tampering's no longer cheating, that's easier than ever. Paying players, tampering, stuff that used to be hard, or if you got caught there'd be actual punishments for, there's none of that anymore. So let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.